Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 1st chapter, text number 35. Naivam vidah purushakara urukramasya pumsam tadangri rajasa jita shadgunanam Chitram vidura vigata sakradadadita Yannamadheya madhuna sajahati bandham. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. My dear King, a devotee who has taken shelter of the dust from the lotus feet of the Lord can transcend the influence of the 6 material whips, namely hunger, thirst, lamentation, illusion, old age and death, and he can conquer the mind and 5 senses. However, this is not very wonderful for a pure devotee of the Lord, because even a person beyond the jurisdiction of the 4 castes, in other words, an untouchable, is immediately relieved of bondage to material existence if he utters the holy name of the Lord even once. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Shukadeva Goswami was speaking to Maharaj Parikshit about the activities of King Priyavrata, and since the king might have had doubts about these wonderful, uncommon activities, Shukadeva Goswami reassured him. My dear king, he said, don't be doubtful about the wonderful activities of Priyavrata. For a devotee of the Supreme Personality of, next slide, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, everything is possible because the Lord is also known as Urukrama. Urukrama is a name for Lord Vamanadeva, who performed the wonderful act of occupying the 3 worlds with 3 footsteps. Lord Vamanadeva requested 3 pieces of land from Maharaja Bali, and when Maharaja Bali agreed to grant them, the Lord immediately covered the entire world with 2 footsteps, and for his 3rd step he placed his foot upon Bali Maharaj's head. Sri Jayadev Goswami says, Chalayasi Vikramane Balim Adbhuta Vamana Padanakha Neera Janita Janapavana Keshava Dhrita Vamana Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare. All glories to Lord Keshava, who assumed the form of a dwarf, O Lord of the universe, who takes away everything inauspicious for the devotees. O wonderful Vamanadeva, you tricked the great demon Bali Maharaj by your steps. The water that touched the nails of your lotus feet when you pierced through the covering of the universe purifies all living entities in the form of the river Ganges. Since the Supreme Lord is all-powerful, he can do things that seem wonderful for a common man. Similarly, a devotee who has taken shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord can also do wonderful things unimaginable to a common man by the grace of the dust of the lotus feet, of those lotus feet. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore teaches us to take shelter of the Lord's lotus feet. Ainanda tanuja kinkaram patitam mam vishame bhavam budav kripaya tava pada pankaja sthita dhuli sadrisham vichintaya. O son of Nanda Maharaj, I am your eternal servant, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms of your lotus feet. Lord Chaitanya teaches us to come in touch with the dust of the Lord's lotus feet, for then there will undoubtedly be all success. Because of the material body, every living entity in material existence is always disturbed by Shadguna, 6 whips: hunger, thirst, lamentation, illusion, invalidity and death. Furthermore, another Shadguna are the mind and 5 sense organs. Not to speak of a sanctified devotee, even a Chandala, an outcast who is untouchable, is immediately freed from material bondage if he utters the holy name of the Lord even once. Sometimes, caste Brahmanas argue that unless one changes his body, he cannot be accepted as a Brahmana. For since the present body is obtained as a result of past actions, one who has in the past acted as a Brahmana takes birth in a Brahmana family. Therefore, they contend, without such a Brahminical body, one cannot be accepted as a Brahmana. Herein it is said, however, that even Vidura Vigata, a Chandala, a 5th class untouchable, is freed if he utters the holy name even once. Being freed means that he immediately changes his body. Sanatana Goswami confirms this. Yatha kanchanatam yati kamsyam rasavidhanatah tata diksha vidhanena dvijatvam jayate nrinam. When a person, even though a Chandala, is initiated by a pure devotee into chanting the holy name of the Lord, his body changes as he follows the instructions of the spiritual master. Although one cannot see how his body has changed, we must accept on the grounds of the authoritative statements of the Shastras that he changes his body. This is to be understood without arguments. This verse clearly says, Sa jahati bandham, he gives up his material bondage. The body is a symbolic representation of material bondage according to one's karma. Although sometimes we cannot see the gross body changing, chanting the holy name of the Supreme Lord immediately changes the subtle body, and because the subtle body changes, the living entity is immediately freed from material bondage. After all, changes of the gross body are conducted by the subtle body. After the destruction of the gross body, the subtle body takes the living entity from his present gross body to another. In the subtle body, the mind is predominant, and therefore if one's mind is always absorbed in remembering the activities or the lotus feet of the Lord, he is to be understood to have already changed his present body and become purified. Therefore, it is irrefutable that a Chandala or any fallen or low-born person can become a Brahmana simply by the method of bona fide initiation. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport.
So we are reading about Maharaj Priyavrata's uncommon activities, how he almost created a second sun with his blazing chariot and brought illumination on the other part of the universe which would become dark, and he created these different oceans of different kinds of oceans and entrusted his sons to rule them and all of this. So after describing these very wonderful activities, Srila Swami is mentioning this particular verse. Naivam vidha purushakara. He's referring to this kind of uncommon activities, purushakara, very, very extraordinary prowess, and by his personal influence, how he could do that. Naivam vidha purushakara. Urukramasya pumsam tadangri rajasa chita shakgunana. Urukramasya tadangri rajasa chita shakgunana. Urukrama, because he is talking about wonderful, uncommon activities. He is referring to Urukrama because krama means steps and Urukrama means took an extraordinary step. The Lord took an extraordinary step. So, and that's referring to Vamanadeva. He took an extraordinary step. And so his lotus feet, Tat Angri, Rajasa, by the dust, Jita Shatgunana. Shatgunana, 6 ropes or whips. So Prabhupada has explained in the translation, you can read this in 2 ways. One is Shatguna, it refers to 6 whips, which is hunger, thirst, lamentation, illusion, old age, and death. These are considered to be 6 whips by which the conditioned soul is whipped and he suffers. Right? That's what happens to all of us in the material world, isn't it? Hunger bothers us. Thirst bothers us. Lamentation, something or other keeps happening in this material world. We keep lamenting. Illusion, oh, we are all subjected to this illusion. Swept away. And then we are thinking everything is going on so nicely and suddenly old age sets in and death. So this is how the conditioned soul, who is supposed to be, who is entitled for the highest pleasure, spiritual pleasure, is being whipped. So this is the Vedic conception of material life. So constantly being whipped. That's why it's referring to Shatgunana. And Prabhupada has said, you can also read this in another way. Shatgunana means there are 6 things which are constantly bothering us. Our 5 senses and the mind. That's another thing that bothers the living entity. The senses are running here and there. And then you run after them, and then you get completely implicated. And the mind, very difficult to control. And so, Shatgunana can refer to the 5 senses and the mind, or it can refer to the whips. But it says here, Jita Shatgunana, he has conquered. Who has conquered and how did he conquer? Tadangri Rajasa, Urukramasya, Tadangri Rajasa, Jita Shatgunana, Pumsa, a devotee who has conquered the Shatgunana by the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord who performs wonderful activities, Urukramasya. So, such a person, Lord who performs such wonderful activities, and the devotee of the Lord who also has conquered the Shatguna by the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord, for him also to perform Purushakara, wonderful activities, Nachitram, it's not a wonderful thing. He can do all these wonderful things. Lord can do wonderful things, and he's pure devotee also. Nachitram, Chitram and Chitram means to wonder. There's nothing to wonder about. It's a way of expressing, yes, it is, he can do even more. These are all wonderful things, and there's no wonder because he is, after all, Lord's servant. Naivam vidha na chitram. It comes, that should be read here. And then Shukadeva Goswami is saying, why you are saying it is nachitra? Why it is not a wonderful thing? Because vidura vigataha sakrit adakita yan namadeyam aduna sachahati bandham. Vidura vigataha refers to a person who is to be kept away, meaning untouchable or a chandala. Very unfortunate birth. Such a person, sakrit, even once, adadita namadeyam. If he adadita, he utters, he takes the holy name of the Lord even once. Adhuna, immediately, sa, he, jahati bandham, he can overcome the material bondage. Even a very fallen person, if he chants the Lord's holy name, even once, can immediately give up his material bondage. This is the glory of the Lord, and that glorious Lord's dust, this devotee has taken shelter of, and the Lord does such wonderful activities, so even the devotee can perform wonderful activities. Nothing to wonder about. That's what Shukadeva Goswami is saying. My dear king, a devotee who has taken shelter of the dust from the lotus feet of the Lord, a devotee who has taken shelter, Pumsa Tadangri Rajasa, of the dust from the lotus feet of the Lord, Tadangri Rajasa, can transcend Jita, the influence of the 6 material whips, Shatgunana. Namely, hunger, thirst, lamentation, illusion, old age and death, and he can conquer the mind and 5 senses. Shatgunana. However, this is not very wonderful. Na chitram. For a pure devotee of the Lord, because even a person beyond the jurisdiction of the 4 castes, vidura vigataha, in other words, an untouchable, is immediately relieved adhuna, relieved of bondage, jahati bandham, to material existence. If he utters Adatita, the holy name of the Lord, Yannamadeyam, even once, Sakrit Adatita, Yannamadeyam, Adhuna, Sajahati bandham. So, these are the three broad things that are mentioned in the purport. One is about the Lord who performs wonderful activities, and his devotees who also perform, who has taken shelter of the dust of his lotus feet, can also perform wonderful activities. And such a devotee has Jita Shat Gunana. So what is the characteristic of a devotee? A devotee is somebody who is above, who transcends the whims of that the conditioned soul goes through. So that's the position of the devotee. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that such a devotee performs wonderful purushakara activities, nachitram, nothing to be surprised about. Yes, devotee can perform such wonderful things. And the third thing Shukadeva Goswami is talking about is about the glories of the holy name. That how even a vidura vigataha, even if he chants the holy name of the Lord, even once, immediately sajahati bandham. So these are all the important things that Shukadeva Goswami has brought up. And so Srila Prabhupada has described here Shukadeva Goswami is reassuring Parikshit. So you heard that Priyavrata did all these things. Do you have a doubt? He's saying, my dear king, don't be doubtful about the wonderful activities of Priyavrata. For a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, everything is possible. It's a very strong statement. That's the position of the devotee. For him, everything is possible. Because the Lord is also known as Urukrama. Because this devotee, he is servant of his Lord. What is that Lord? That Lord also can do anything. And hence, because he is surrendered to him, he can also do anything. And then Prabhupada has quoted that how Chalayasi Balimat Putava. Balim Chalayasi. Chalayasi means he got cheated. Adbhutama. When the Lord cheats, the devotee benefits. Because the Lord is all good. Anything he does, it will only result in good result for the devotee. So, Chalayasi, you tricked the great demon, Bali Maharaj. It was a trick, it was a deception. Chalayasi, Vikramane, with an extraordinary pace. Vikrama, krama again, meaning steps. Vikrama, extraordinary step. This is how the Lord, this is the influence, this is the way how Vamana Deva, Adbhuta Vamana Deva, performed that leela of conquering the whole universe just by his 3 steps. And also, we should know that he was known as Vamana. Vamana means a dwarf. He came as a small boy. Vamana Vatu. He was a brahmachari. He was a small boy. He was walking. And so small boys, dwarf, his steps will be very small. So when Bali Maharaj asked him, when he asked Bali Maharaj, give me 3 steps, he said, you are not very intelligent. You come to a Chakravarti. What a small thing you are asking. After all, first of all, you are so small. You are asking your 3 small steps. You are not very intelligent. Anyway, I'll give you 3 steps. Take it. And then Mahamadeva has this huge form. And his 3 steps he covered. 2 steps he covered everything, all the kingdom of Bali. Didn't have a place for the 3rd step. understood this is the Supreme Lord. And he offered his head, and the Lord placed his head on his lotus feet on his head. Wonderful pastime. So, here, another thing that Prabhupada has pointed out in the purport, you see, Jita Shadgunana, we can try to conquer the mind and the senses by our own efforts. But the Krishna conscious approach is we pray for the mercy of the Lord. Tadangri Rajasa Jita Shadgunana. By the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord, by taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, he can't jita shakti gunana. So, we have to follow the regulative principles and do devotional service, chanting Hare Krishna, hearing Bhagavad Gita, doing service, doing sadhana, singing and dancing before the deities. By doing devotional service, then by the mercy of the Lord, Jita Shakti Gunana, this is our strategy. The Jnanis and even sometimes the yogis, their strategy is not necessarily to depend on the mercy and blessing of the Lord. By their own efforts they will be struggling. So, the process of Krishna consciousness is Tadangri Rajasa, by the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord. Tadangri Rajasa, Jita Shakti Gunana. This is our process. So we offer our activities to Krishna, we depend on Krishna, and Tesham Aham Samudharta Mrityu Samsara Sagara. This is Krishna's promise. If the devotee does that, I become the swift deliverer. Krishna picks up the devotee. So that is our process. Then, very nicely, the Prabhupada is talking about the holy name. And interestingly here, Prabhupada mentions about receiving initiation from a pure devotee. When a person is initiated by a pure devotee into chanting the holy name of the Lord. So, what is the power? It has a transforming power. And Prabhupada always, we have discussed this many times, I think, among different forums, all of you would have. What is initiation? Oh, I got initiated. I'm waiting for initiation. I'm going to take initiation. All such expressions exist in our culture, in our society. So, on the day we take initiation, we get a change of name, then we receive the mala, and that is initiation. Now I'm initiated. Actually, Prabhupada says initiation is a process. That is because here Sanatana Goswami is confirming that. Yatha kanchanatam yati kamsyam rasa vidhanataha. Vidhana means a process. Rasa vidhanataha means a chemical process. Rasa also means chemicals. So, kamsyam, it is referring to how kamsya, a base metal. Kanchanatam, kanchana is gold. Kanchanatam yati. Yati means to achieve. A base metal achieves a status of gold. Kanchanatam yati. Yatha, in the same way, tata diksha vidhanena. So by the process of diksha vidhana. So diksha is a process. It does not even begin at the time of the initiation ceremony. It begins even earlier, when the living entity comes in touch with a pure devotee and hears about the pure devotee, hears about devotional service and makes up his mind, yes, I must take this one seriously. I must take Krishna consciousness seriously. This is wonderful. One determination we make at some point, that is the initiation. And even that, it began when we hear from the pure devotee the first time. So when we hear from the pure devotee, initiation has begun. See, we start hearing from somebody or read a book or come to the temple and see the deities. A certain kind of an appreciation begins. Already initiation has begun. And then along we read some books, we associate with devotees, we start becoming determined. When that determination is made, that is initiation. That's another important step of initiation. And then it is officially carried out in the form of the ceremony. And then the process continues till one is fully awakened. So this, because Diksha is the process of awakening transcendental knowledge and vanquishing all the sinful reactions. That is Diksha process. So, how important it is to come in touch with the pure devotee and take initiation from him and receive the holy name from him. Then this transformation happens. So, one of the things that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu revealed, there are some very extraordinary things that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu revealed as Krishna coming himself. And one of them is the importance of the holy name of the Lord. It's there everywhere in the Shastra, but still it was not sufficiently taught and appreciated and understood. I remember long ago we had one devotee from him. I don't know, I think he is not so much in touch with us. He's a little older person. He came in touch, he was from a Madhva family, Madhva Brahmin family, South Indian family. And he took initiation and he was chanting 16 rounds an hour. So one of the occasions he had gone to Udupi, because he is a Madhva and his parents and all grandparents are all connected to the Madhva Matha. And so one of the Madhva sannyasi met him and then he talked to him, you are our boy, you've gone away to ISKCON and taken initiation. He was speaking a little. Understandable. So then, like that, some more interaction happened. On another occasion, this Madhva sannyasi, he used to see him sitting in the Krishna temple, sitting in the corner and chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So when the sannyasi used to do this puja, you would see him chanting. So another interaction he told him, this devotee told me this long ago. He said that sannyasi told him, you're chanting, okay, but you should also read so much granthas we have all got. You must read that. Chanting is okay, you do a little bit. So, you see, they have not understood the significance and the importance the true position of the holy name of the Lord. That is only revealed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's there in the Shastras. Like here, in the Bhagavatam itself, Yan namadeyam aduna sajahati bandhamu viduravegataha jahati bandhamu. He also can become free just by chanting once. You see? And so, like this, the glories of the holy name is there. But it is not so much. So one of the things Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did was to reveal the glories. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did many wonderful things. Many things he did, and he had his many associates, and through them he revealed many things. And one of the things he did about the glories of the holy name was through Haridas Thakur. So there is a very nice Leela in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. In the house of Raghunath Das Goswami, that is Hiranya Majumdar, and what is that? Govardhan Majumdar. Govardhan and Hiranya Majumdar, father and uncle. They were actually Vaishnavas. And so they we don't know when this pastime happened, after Raghunath had left the home, or I'm not carefully studying. So they would have many devotees come, and there would be kirtans and katha and all of that. So in one occasion, Haridas Thakur had come to their house. And there were many brahmanas also there. And they were having the chanting, and there was this katha. And at that time, Haridas Thakur mentions the glories of the holy name. And he says that, see, this is the true glory of the holy name. Very nicely, Haridas Thakur explains. He says, the Shastras talk about Papa Kshaya and Jiva Moksha. How sins can be mitigated, vanquished, and the living entity can get moksha by the chanting of the holy name. But Haridas Thakur said, these two effects of the holy name, these two phala, Papa Kshayam and Jiva Moksha, these are actually known as Asangika phala, incidental, concomitant, in any way it comes. This is not the pradhan phala. This is not the main result of the holy name. The real result of the holy name is premodaya. It can awaken prema in the heart of a living entity. This is the true effect of the holy name. Asangika phala is papakshaya and jiva moksha. This Haridas Thakur explained in that association, in that group of people. And when he described that one, and there was some brahmanas who were there, very caste brahmanas, and they were well versed with this. And they said, no, we have an objection to this. And there was one tax collector who would come to the house of Hiranya Majumdar, Govardhan Majumdar. And then he said, no, see how he is talking, Haridas Thakur. This is the Bhavukaya Siddhanta. This is the sentimentalist Siddhanta. See how they are exaggerating all these things. Then Haridas Thakur immediately refuted, showing Shastras on this. He just laughed and he said, no. You know, moksha, papakshaya is so difficult. Jiva moksha is so difficult. It takes many janmas. And he is saying that this is simply by the nama bhasa, simply by a shadow of the holy name, you can achieve this one. What is this silly thing he is saying? Oh, this is the sentimental Vaishnavas these people are. And so Haridas Thakur said, no, that's not true. This is what the Shastra is saying. Then he challenged him. If the holy name cannot bring it, simply a nama bhasa can do that. If you are saying like that, then I will cut off your nose. He said, yeah, Haridas Thakur accepted the challenge. Yes, you can cut off my nose if the nama bhasa cannot bring that one. And then like this kind of a challenge and discussion was going on. And the host became very unhappy. He said, no. He said, you Gopal Chakravarti, why are you speaking like this? Go, don't speak like that. And they sent him away, and then, they quieted all the, this was an unpleasant thing that happened. Then Haridas Thakur was not at all perturbed. And then he was about to rise and go away. The two Majumdar brothers fall at his feet and say, "We are very sorry that such a thing happened." He said, "No. You see, don't pray. You should not feel sorry. Even we should not feel, what to do. It is, say, as a Pandita, simply a scholar, cannot understand the true glories of the holy name. The true glories of the holy name as revealed in the Shastras even eludes a Pandita. So it is understandable that he has no such Shraddha, he has no such understanding. It's understandable. And then he goes away. In the next 3 days, this tax collector, who was a very handsome young man, he had very nice hands, fingers and toes, he had nice rising nose, he had charming fellow, suddenly he got leprosy. And the leprosy spread all over his body and especially on his face, and his beautiful nose fell off. And then everyone was saying, "See, he challenged Haridas Thakur that I will cut off your nose." Now he had to lose his own nose. So, this kind of pastime happened during Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time. So, the true position of the holy name, the true glories of the holy name, true position of Krishna. Who is Krishna? All of these that are like this, if you analyze it, are some very, very wonderful things that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu revealed, which was not known in the Parampara. It was known just a few generations before Madhavendra Puri onwards. Then Ishvara Puri, that's why Ishvara Puri tells him to chant Krishna and tells him about the whole and broadcast the holy name. So these are all very, very fundamental principles, the importance of the holy name, and all of these things so nicely Srila Prabhupada has given us. So we should take these things very seriously, chanting. And you see throughout the Bhagavatam, here, there, Nama Sankirtana, Nama Deha, Nama Yatan Nama, Tan Nama Deham. Glories of the holy name is described everywhere in the Bhagavatam. So, these are the wonderful things, and we will see further what Srila Goswami. Stop here, Grantaraj Srila Prabhupada.